Here's what happened from my point of view. As you guys know, I was working at this restaurant and Marcus is my boss. I started working at the restaurant early May, and about 3 weeks into May, I get to work one day. It's a normal day, and there's all of a sudden all of this commotion from all the guys in the kitchen about the fact that there's some retired NBA legend that is dining there. I don't follow the NBA, don't really care about the NBA, and with this man being retired, that's clearly before my time. This man and this very attractive, much younger woman sit down, they sit on the same side of the booth, they, share off of each other's plates, they're very engaged in one another's company, they've shared out of the same drinking cup, so it's like, it was just giving date night energy. However, they eat, they pay, they leave, boom, that's it. 4 months later, and Marcus asked me if I want to go to an event. He goes, hey, this is going to be this event. It's for the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's going to be filmed. You've got an RSVP, so send me your email. I send my email, and boom, I get this. I get the response. I'm invited. You've been selected, whatever you want to call it. I'm there. And we are at this Williams-Sonoma event. I'm just here to get a little chicken and waffle, drink this mimosa, and watch the housewives kind of go back and forth. Of course I was excited. I'm a fan of the show. Who doesn't love the Real Housewives? So I was excited to go. So, I'm in the background. I'm eating my chicken and waffle. I'm watching them. It was kind of boring. I'm just, I'm there. I'm there enjoying the event. So Marcus is like, oh, obviously this one's Kelly because it's her event. And then he brings out Angela and Charles. He's like, that one at the end is Angela. And as he's sitting here telling me about her, he's trying to jog my memory about 4 months prior when we were in the restaurant and the NBA legend had came in. And then Marcus kind of pieces it together for me. I go use the restroom, and when I'm coming back from the restroom, as I walk back into Williams-Sonoma, Marcus is up to Angela talking to her, which is what you guys see on the show when he is telling her, your husband's been into the restaurant with a different woman. So, of course, I'm still standing in the background. He walks back over, and I'm like, what was that all about? And then he proceeds to tell me, the whole, oh, I just went and told her about her husband. And I'm like, I beg your pardon? He was like, yeah, I did, but I don't know if she really heard it or received it. So he was like, I need to make sure she knows what I'm talking about. And I'm like, Marcus, what? That's when this moment happens where he makes the cheers. As you can see, I am visibly gagged, mouth open, shocked, and gagged like the rest of the guests because, I'm sorry, what? Did not know that was about to happen. I was completely caught off guard like everybody else, like just gagged. So after the whole stunt, Marcus is thrown out of the event. I continue to shop. I bought some of her products. I took a photo. And I enjoyed the evening. It was over. The next day after the event, and I am at the restaurant working, and Marcus is there as well. I'm standing in front of the restaurant, and I'm at the host stand. It's a slow day at the moment, and the phone rings. The hostess answers the phone. Thank you for calling. How can I help you? And she then looks over and she goes, hey, Marcus, there's a woman by the name of Drew Sidoro on the phone, and she would like to speak to you. So, of course, me and Marcus lock eyes from across the restaurant. Here I am, visibly gagged again, because why is Drew calling? What does Drew want? What's about to happen now? So, Marcus gets on the phone with Drew, and basically, Drew's just like, how are you going to come to my event? How are you going to come to this event and drop all that piping hot tea without getting my number afterwards so I can get the behind the scenes details? So Marcus and Drew exchange numbers. They have a whole back and forth for a couple of days, or maybe for a day or so, but essentially Drew just invites Marcus to go and have coffee with her. So after Marcus gets the invite to go have coffee with Drew, he was like, well, you have to come with me because I need you to be my receipt. I need you to tell people what you saw since you were there that day as well. We have also had a producer reach out in an attempt to get security camera footage from the restaurant of our good old friend Charles and the woman that he was with. I'm starting to feel bad because it's like, I didn't come to this person's event to do any of this. So I go and I look up Angela Oakley and I DM her after the event to try to kind of warn her on what I feel like is production trying to set up Angela, as you can see here. I felt bad. I didn't even want to be in any of this. So I reached out to be like, hey, this is what I think is happening. It pretty much ended with, I feel like, her thinking that I was trying to just get a moment. And I'm like, girl, no, I'm not trying to get a moment. I'm trying to help you. I've already got my own moment elsewhere. This is not for me. This is for you. I'm just trying to warn you because I think they're trying to set you up in your moment. I go to the coffee shop to sit down, and lo and behold, Angela is there. And the first thing I say, and of course you guys don't see the scene, but the first thing I say is, actually, I'm glad Angela is here because I thought Drew was being messy trying to get to your marriage. And I said, and first of all, I'm not even here to say that your man is cheating. However, this is just simply what happened the day that he was in the restaurant. And I shared the same details with her. The optics of the situation just didn't look good if he is indeed married to, somebody else. That's all there was to it. She then kind of takes control of the conversation and gets a little bit more aggressive. And understandably so, because I, as a married person, you're not going to step to me about my partner. That's why I reached out to Angela the night before via DM. She's basically like, look, I looked up both of you, and unless y'all start talking right now and y'all tell me who sent y'all, I'm going to start talking about what I know on both of y'all. So I'm like, girl, what is you talking about? There ain't nothing out there on me. So she kind of turns her attention more so to Marcus. And she just, again, doubles down on this. I know somebody sent you. I know somebody sent you. And I know both of you have a connection to Athens, Georgia. And I'm like, I really don't. My mother-in-law lives there, but I don't really have a connection to Athens, Georgia. Marcus was not trying to say a name. Marcus was visibly, I feel like, as uncomfortable as I was. So then this is what you see on the show where Angela's like, well, here, you can write it in, just here's my phone, write the name down in my phone. And he proceeds to type out a name, hands the phone to Angela. Angela reads it, hands it to Drew. Drew reads it. Nobody hands the phone to me. So I'm in the dark on who sent us, because as I told you, I was just invited by my boss / friend Marcus. I came with no agenda. I had no clue that anything was going to happen. They're shocked. They thank him for his services. And then the tone of the conversation changes dramatically. Nobody ever says a name, and it goes from Angela being mean to Angela being very nice. And then Angela and Marcus are just having this whole kind of kiki back and forth, almost as if they've known each other for a while. So much so to the point where a producer steps in and was like, okay, wait a minute, stop. What just happened here? So all of a sudden, Angela's like, now you have to get me dirt that shows that she sent you guys. And I was like, still confused because I don't know who she is and nobody's ever used her name. But it, turns out to be Phaedra is what they're saying. So I'm like, they're like, you have to figure out, you have to come up with a way to prove that Phaedra sent you here. So I'm like, wait, what? What is going on? How did this happen? I'm confused. And it's just like, I just keep getting thrust into these situations. And it's like, I really felt like the B character on a show, and the main character just keeps thrusting us into these wild scenarios. And I'm like, we get up, we leave from the table after agreeing to get proof to show that Phaedra allegedly set all this up, and we're off camera, but we're in the coffee shop, and I asked Marcus, I'm like, Marcus, and this is a hot mic moment, so Phaedra, you need to ask production for this. I say, why did you sit there and lie to that woman? We don't know Phaedra. What are you talking about? How did we get here? There's a whole moment, and he's like, shh, we're still mic'd. So this is the conversation between me and Marcus. And if you start here, I ask him, Marcus, why did you switch up? Her husband was in the restaurant. And then he goes, she definitely wanted to be Phaedra, so I didn't know what else to say. Well, after that meeting, I'm convinced Angela knows about Charles. He already had a terrible image from being banned at Madison Square Gardens and the MGM. She knows what she's dealing with, and I felt like she wanted to pin it on Phaedra, and that's not right. So as you see, this is August 13th at 2:31 p.m. So then, once I realized that Marcus was actually going so far as to scheme along with Angela and actually say that Phaedra did this, I then Same day, again, August 13th at 11 p.m., I DM Phaedra Parks. Anyways, this is my DM to Phaedra, where I specifically tell Phaedra, hey, I was at Kelly's event when the cheating rumor about Angela's husband was outed by my friend. A lot has happened since then, and I think they're trying to make it out to be you put us up to it. I'd love to have a conversation off camera about what happened today. Phaedra never reaches back out to me. Then I actually get in touch with a old RHOA producer who I talk to. I share all of this with. I'm like, hey, can you get me in touch with Phaedra? His name was Luke. He was apparently like her old producer on the show a couple seasons ago. So I reach out to him, really trying to like warn Phaedra, hey, I think they're trying to set you up, because again, I don't want to be a part of them like lying on somebody, trying to take somebody down or anything like that, because that's not cool. I didn't think it was cool when I thought they were trying to do this to Angela's marriage, the reason why I DM'd her. And I didn't think that it was right when they were trying to do this to Phaedra, the reason why I DM'd her. Trying to like maintain my friendship and keep my job. So it's just a lot at this point for me. I DM'd her. Y'all can go and look at really, really, really old comments. I was commenting under all of Phaedra's old comments, like, please check your DMs, please check your DMs, because I would have really felt bad had I not done everything that I could have done, and this played out like season 9, and Phaedra got fired for something that she did not do. It's been about a night or two since the coffee shop. We are leaving the restaurant, Marcus, myself, and a couple of other people, and we're in my car. As we are driving, he keeps getting these phone calls from a private number. Then he starts getting text messages while we're in the car. He does not answer any of the phone calls. And then this is the phone call. The text message, can you call Phaedra? Marcus responds and asks, who is this? Then this weird message comes up because Angela was using some sort of burner phone or something. So then we got this really weird message, and then she's like, I want to protect you, which you have already heard her say in those released audio clips, which we gonna jump into later. And then again, thank you, but who is this? Can you talk? I came in about 30 minutes, had a family emergency I'm finishing up with. Is this Angela? Can you talk? I'm still with my family trying to finish up. I'm sorry, I'm just weary about who is texting me. This is Angela. Okay, I will let you know as soon as I'm home. So we wait about 10-15 minutes, and then he calls Angela. You guys have heard the audio. The audio recording is a full 15-minute conversation between the two of them trying to scheme and figure out receipts to set up Phaedra. So you guys have heard some of what Marcus has posted, which is kind of a really grainy bad audio. That's because I've recorded that. When the situation was happening, we were in my car, and when they started really talking about scheming on Phaedra, I was like, I have to record this. So I'm trying to drive and secretly record this conversation that Marcus is having on his phone on speaker, so that way I could have a receipt. However, Angela clearly recorded the call too, because you guys have heard it from her point of view, which is way clearer. However, you've noticed neither have released the full 15-minute video, which would show both of them equally taking parts in scheming on Phaedra. Now, I'm going to double down on this because Angela absolutely held the charges that have come out about Marcus over his head. Angela absolutely was like, I will make sure that this gets out and everybody sees this if you don't help me. And you don't want that. None of you knew Marcus's full name to be able to go and look up and pull those charges. They didn't even say Marcus's full name. Marcus isn't even that big on social media for you guys to be able to find him. So all of his past and charges only came out because it was specifically leaked by Angela. So boom. I'm secretly recording their conversation. She's like, hey, I don't want to say, he's like, hey, I don't want to, no, excuse me. Marcus says, I don't want to say fake something, but we've got to come up with something. And she's like, yes, I agree. We need to come up with something to legitimize what we're going to say about Phaedra. So I take those clips, and I'm like, I've got to find Phaedra still. So the next morning, as I'm getting ready for my other job, my day job, it dawns on me. My day job, I manage a luxury high-rise. One of my residents I've known for years because I leased an apartment to her mother a decade ago, and her mother is a popular blogger. So I reach out to her. I'm like, hey, you wouldn't happen to know Phaedra? She was like, yeah, let me see what I can do. I tell the blogger the whole like quick skinny of it. She's like, let me see what I can do. Okay, cool. Boom. It's about an hour later, I'm in my car, I'm driving to work. My friend is calling me back, the one I reached out to, and I'm like, hey, Tammy, what's up? And she was like, hey, I got in touch with Phaedra, she's on the line. So then all of a sudden, I hear the most beautiful, angelic voice of a Southern belle. Hello, how you doing? And I was just like, well, I'm stressed, but better now that I've gotten in touch with you. So I am probably sounding like a crazy person to Phaedra, like, bitch, I know you don't know me. I am a fan, but like, I'm not like a crazy fan, like, ah! But like, all of this is happening, and I think they're trying to set you up again. So I'm literally on the phone with Phaedra for like an hour trying to make any of this make sense to her. So she's like, well, just send me an email of what you have. Boom. So I'm gonna show this really up close like this because I'm not trying to put out any of her information. But as you can see, the message is like, hey, Phaedra, I'm not tech savvy, blah, blah, blah. But this was me emailing Phaedra. This is, as you see, on August 15th at this point. And at this point, Phaedra, I have talked to her on the phone, and now she has responded. So I sent her the above email, and now she's like, thanks for sending, I'm driving, but we'll look ASAP. Woo! I finally got in touch with Phaedra, and like, I'm literally sitting in my car crying, because I'm like, whew, let me vindicate this woman, because I cannot have this single mama out here losing no job. Boom. So I send the stuff over to Phaedra. Me and Phaedra probably have I think we have two additional phone calls after that, kind of just like talking through everything. And then that next day, Friday, I was off of work for my day job, and it's like Friday morning, and Marcus is like, oh my gosh, have you seen the info and everything about this black tie gala that Angela and Charles are having? He was like, I think they're gonna confront Phaedra tonight, this, that, and the third. And me and him are just kind of having a back and forth about it. By midday, he gets this text from Drew Sidora stating that Angela would like me to invite you to this tonight. Hope you can make it out. And of course, you see where he's like, I'll be there. Hopefully you guys have my back, which you saw they did because they were a part of all of this. Phaedra then has our mutual friend reach back out to me, and she was like, I'm gonna buy you a ticket and invite you to the gala so you can speak your truth. Boom! That's how I end up at the gala. So it's the finale night. We are dressed to the nines. I'm there. And I was asked to be a part of the red carpet because I was recognized from my other television show endeavors that I have. Because again, I was not trying to be in the midst of all of this craziness. Now we're ready to see the sparks fly. Okay, so here we go with part 4. And I'm going to try to wrap all of this up in part 4. So boom, Angela, I asked you flat out, did you send the guy in the Mercedes to my job to intimidate my boss? You said, excuse me, who, what, where? I don't know what you're talking about. But then on the episode, you said you got some people who don't play about you. I believe that was your words, I quote. I got some people who don't play about me. So you sent some people to see about us. So you knew exactly what I was talking about when I flat out asked you, did you send this guy to our restaurant to threaten us and rough us up to get us to change the story and say that Charles was in the restaurant with his daughters? But anyways, back to part 4. So as I was saying, at this point, Phaedra has invited me, Angela has invited Marcus through Drew, and it's the Friday of the gala, and we are all there. So boom, we're at the gala, and it is a long night for me because I get there at 6. And then the actual event and ceremony and them honoring people lasted for what felt like an eternity, but I think it was probably about 2.5 hours, 3 hours. It just went on for a while. They thanked and honored about 15 to 27 people that y'all didn't see outside of Portia and the Meals on Wheels lady. So at some point before it ends, I step out, go outside, and then an altercation ensues between me and Charles Oakley, and he has me thrown out by security. Security is escorting me out. As I'm being escorted out, someone from production, for the first time in my experience in this whole thing, acknowledges me and stops, and it's pretty much like, hey, he's a part of the storyline. We'll handle this. That guy from production walks away. Security walks away. I'm standing down there, just pretty much told to wait. So I'm sitting down there for about 25, 30 minutes. I'm over it at this point. It's probably going on about 10:30, and I'm like, all right, I'm going back upstairs to be like, look, I got to get out of here. So as I get up to the top of the stairs and I'm rounding the corner, none other than the Angela Oakley is rounding the other corner of the ballroom, and we are now walking towards each other. So she points all the way across, you, get over here. And gladly. So as I walk over to her and follow her over, it is this scene that you guys didn't see in the episode where all of the women are sitting down on the sofa in the ballroom, where Angela was there standing, Drew was there standing, Marcus was there telling whatever he was telling. And she was like, tell them right now that Phaedra sent y'all. And I go, no, Phaedra didn't. I said, you two, and did this finger motion pointing to her and Drew, and was basically like, the two of you told me to say it was Phaedra. Drew then, of course, chimes in, I don't know you. I've never met you a day in my life. She calls it acting. We call it lying. Whatever. But Angela at that point then kind of starts to like spiral, and she gets upset, and she is just getting angry. And then at this point, she's like threatening and just getting real nasty. I mean, she's just getting real nasty at this point. And she's like, why would I do this? And I was like, I don't know. You wanted to have a moment with Phaedra. I don't know. So then I also want to mention, in this moment of her spiraling and being angry, this was then the only other time production steps in. And this is kind of what causes me to just be like, let me get out of here. In the heat of Angela being upset and angry and going off, she goes to start threatening people, threatening to have me fucked up, again referring to those people she got that don't play about her, threatening Marcus. Then she makes some really disgusting comments about my marriage being fake, and then she calls me a fucking faggot. And that's when the production was like, Angela, you got to chill out. They stopped cameras. They're like, hey, you can't talk like this. And in the midst of all of this craziness, commotion, I'm like, I got to get out. But again, I don't want to get in my feelings on that because I spiraled out about that on the internet last year in real time. You guys can go and find all of that because it's still out there because the internet never dies. So that's it. There you have it. That was the end of the gala because at that point I'm gone. Crashed out on the internet. It's over. But I do want to say, I want to give it up to Angela because Angela came on this season. Angela killed the season, and she held her head high and wore that crown of, the best newbie with such grace and elegance, and just came off as just so honest and transparent. But meanwhile, behind the scenes, Angela was running this whole thing like Suge Knight. But however, the part that's disappointing me the most is that soon as I start telling the truth and call you out for the truth, you and your PR team resort back to your day one tactics of bullying people and holding things over people's head and paying off your payola bloggers to go back to pushing this narrative about Marcus's past. And that's not cool. So, as I've said, you've got all your conversations, I've got all of the conversations, and we can put them all out there. I'm fine with that. But what I'm not fine with is you sitting here trying to use somebody's past to strong arm them into saying or going along with whatever it is because you want to deflect from what's going on. So, let's just be honest. Part 5. And I know, just like all of you thought that we were done after part 4, so did I. So something crazy, and yes, crazier than what already happens in part 1 through 4 had to happen for me to now make a part 5. But before we get into that, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about this post on this page, from this page, Shady in the ATM. And this page is Angela. She thanked this page after the season finale. This page always has me in her private DMs first. It's her page. It's her fan page. It's hers. I'm going to talk about this post specifically right here. If he's a straight man with a family, why is he pressing this so hard anyways? And then I want to pop up here to this. With Bravo having such a strong LGBTQ following and even Annie blah family and some of her family members, it would be extremely stupid to say this and have no immediate repercussions. To implore you to think about the fact that each one of those initials are attached to a person with a story. And if you understood that story, you wouldn't go to weaponize that in your first line of attack against them.
Did the cast producer hear her call you the F word?
Absolutely. It was on camera.
Everybody heard
Everybody
Tangled.
heard it.
In fact, some of the other bloggers who were there actually reported about it. Bingeworthy reported on it. I think House of Aaron reported on it as well. But I didn't know the context until now. So yeah, and they cut it out. So basically, producers protected her because again, the general public doesn't know she said the F word.
And then popular blogger Bingeworthy, previously mentioned in Michelle's video, had this to say himself on his platform after the event because he too was there.
Thank God it was edited to be a little bit unserious and it wasn't as explosive as I thought it was.
And then this page is reporting this from Britt Eating, and I can't confirm this, but this was, like I said, filmed in front of all of the girls and cast. So if she did, thank you, Britt Eating. And so to wrap all of this up, I just want to say, person that has that kind of hate, it impacts their children. Because look at some of the hateful tweets Angela's beautiful daughter had. These things to say. So clearly this is her learned tool to, when she goes to insult people, she says something like this. So then lastly, this tweet. I'm Angela's daughter and she never called him that. He made that up and clearly he was edited out for a reason. So y'all just saw all those other receipts from those people's pages. And still she sent her own daughter to my page to say this. It's astonishing at the lengths that this woman will go to change the narrative. But that's not what we're here for. We've got bigger fish to fry. And some would even say legal fish to fry, Angela. So jumping into part 5. As you guys know, parts 1 through 4 have been uploaded for X amount of hours or days now, right? And this is the first I have felt, heard, or seen in all of this over the last year. So imagine my surprise when popular blogger, AT alien Michelle Brown, was doing a live talking about the video series. Through that, I was able to connect with her and we were able to go out and have lunch the other day. Now, at lunch, I was expecting to just go and share with her pretty much in detail everything that had been going on. But imagine my surprise when I get there and she actually had something for me. And this is the craziest receipt yet, y'all, because this receipt is coming directly from Angela.
Then she sends me another video, which was a screenshot from her phone of security texting her saying that they went and talked to y'all or Marcus or whoever, and they were telling her, don't worry, it'll never happen again. So I'm like, Angela, is you extorting people and like Angela strong arming the gays? Like, what is you, like, I don't understand.
So yes, you heard that correctly. Angela Oakley sent a screen grab a screen recording of her and her message to her goons, then people who don't play about her, her security, whichever one of these menacing labels she wants to give them, her conversations between her and that person to Michelle, which Michelle shared on her live, and I'll link below. But now I'm going to blow it up so you guys can see them yourself. Okay, so you're probably going to have to pause, but here you see Angela sends his name, a photos of Marcus, and then her security says he's not at work today. I drove by there twice, and I'll be going by there again tonight. Then he sends a picture of Marcus and says, I just finished talking to him. You don't have to worry, that won't happen again. That sounds threatening and intimidating to me, but after I left being a part of Michelle's live and continued to watch it, Michelle then said something else interesting afterwards, which was this.
I think the problem arose when she sent security to the restaurant to confront them. Like, when you going that far to send somebody to somebody's place of business to ask about, what you know about my husband, and you better not say nothing else, and all of that, or else, you know what I'm saying? Like, it gets into real sticky territory now. I mean, I know she, was talking about cease and desist and this, but at the end of the day, eh, you the one that got a lot to lose, allegedly, if your husband still has money. And so, like, you wouldn't want anybody to say that you tried to extort them to exchange, to change their story, you know?
Yeah.
And then the fact of, we can, like, look at the paper trail of, once his name came out, and then those things came out about his past and all of that stuff.
So then after seeing that, it made me do some research of my own, which I then discovered it's actually illegal to do what Angela did by sending someone to our place of work to intimidate Marcus into changing his story. But then that made me want to go even further, so I decided to speak with an attorney, and I learned some new definitions. Menacing. Menacing is a crime with which people are charged when they intentionally cause someone to fear for their physical safety. It's kind of a menacing act to send that man to that restaurant. Cyberbullying. Well, I mean, I've already shown you all those tweets from her daughter. I don't think I need to really go into that any further. But my favorite one is the one down here at the bottom, extortion. Extortion is using a threat to demand something valuable from someone. The threat can be physical harm, but usually involves harm from revealing secrets or damning information. So, Angela, it looks like you were trying to have your very own RHOA RICO going on here, because you used your force of power to intimidate Marcus and I into going along with something that you wanted us to do. And you did that when you sent that man to our restaurant that day and had him intimidate us into changing our story. And you did that for two reasons. One, because you wanted to make sure that that security camera footage never saw the light of day. And two, you wanted to make sure, you wanted to actually hold over his head his past to make sure that he went along with whatever you wanted your story to be, whether it was having Charles be in that restaurant with his daughters, or even going so far as to lie and say Phaedra Parks sent him.
See, you never can win when you're dirty, honey. You never can win.
Do you believe this person telling the truth?
Yes, he had a lot to lose if he didn't. And it's just who he is and things that he done in his past. He didn't want to come to light. So I found out about it. And I was just like, you're going to tell me, what happened and who sent you. And he beat around the bush and he just said, I'm going to tell you. And he did.
All allegedly.
Somebody lying in this situation. But this guy Alex's story seems more believable. And it looks like Phaedra Parks might be vindicated. What y'all think? Was this a scheme Angela set up? Was the cheating really going on? Where is the tapes to the restaurant? I wonder if this is even going to be brought up at the reunion. I don't know, child, but this story got too many twists and turns.